This is the MGTOW Infinium here with another Infinium training session. This Infinium training session is entitled Divestment, It's Not What You Think. My brothers, you may have heard of the divestment movement, which is becoming increasingly popular amongst black women. The divestment movement, simply put, is the divestiture or rejection of black men as compatible mates by black women in favor of men of other races. On face value, the divestment movement may simply seem to be a reactionary tactic by black women as a whole because of black men choosing to date, cohabitate with, or to marry women outside their race, or black men obtaining passports and traveling with the intent of meeting foreign women who are not affected by westernized womanism. As well, and on face value, the divestment movement can appear to be simply a tactic by black women to create value where there is little or no value, making the divestment movement itself a type of two can play at that scheme. Here, the value comes in the form of no black men allowed, closed doors exclusivity when it comes to black men who seek black females as mates, which in particular, because of the Black Queens effect, what was formerly exclusive to black men now excludes them as a whole as insufficient. My brothers, in spite of its face value simplistic view, the divestment movement represents a danger to all men, not just black men. More importantly, realize that all men who live in westernized societies where womanism has inroads face some form of divestment. For instance, a woman who stops seeking after bad boys in favor of good men can be considered as a form of divestment on her part. And whereas racial divestment seems to create a false competitive male devaluation among various female race groups, where seemingly there is intense competition between those various female race groups, the end goal, my brothers, is your enslavement, no matter what race you are. My brothers, consider this analogy as an example of what is truly happening in terms of the black female divestment movement. The armed forces of the United States is actually comprised of 6 distinct branches: the Coast Guard, the Marines, the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, and the Space Force. Each branch has different tactics as well as equipment to perform its various assignments and tasks. As well, there is a competitive nature among the various branches of the armed forces. Nevertheless, the goal of the armed forces overall is the protection as well as the projection of the interests of the United States of America. So, for instance, even though the Navy uses the F-35 fighter, which is distinctly different from a Marine F-35 fighter, the use of those jets is for one purpose and one end goal. Just like the armed forces, there are many branches to the feminist plantation state. And similarly, these seemingly competitive branches each have tactics as well as equipment to perform various assignments. Thus, the divestment movement becomes one of the many tactics where the primary purpose and end goal is your enslavement as a man, no matter what race you are. In the eyes of the feminist plantation state, it does not matter if you are a white man who is married to a black woman or a black man who is married to an Asian woman, etc. It only matters that you as a man become a wage slave who does his duty by laboring in the slave pits where there is no freedom. My brothers, divested or not, you as MGTOW men must always remember the most profound tenets of the MGTOW philosophy: your right to live free and be free as men. This is the MGTOW Infinium, and this has been an Infinium training session. My MGTOW brothers, as always, stay safe, stay strong, stay on the MGTOW path, and remember, MGTOW is the liberation of men's minds. MGTOW cannot and will not be stopped.